Ladies and gentlemen, do we still have gold inside of Fort Knox, or has it all disappeared? Because that is the question that now has President Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency looking to conduct the first comprehensive audit on the gold inside of Fort Knox in decades. You see, as the Department of Government Efficiency has been combing through our federal government's budget, a very curious question has popped up. How much gold do we have? And so it was this question that prompted Elon Musk just the other day to post, "It would be cool to do a live video walkthrough of Fort Knox." Now, folks, could you imagine getting to watch a live stream from inside of Fort Knox? All of us, in a way, getting to personally audit our nation's gold reserves. That doesn't seem like a bad idea. But now, take a look at this. In response to Elon Musk's idea about the Fort Knox livestream audit, Senator Mike Lee responded by saying this. As a U.S. Senator, I've tried to repeatedly get inside of Fort Knox, but I've always been told that you can't come to Fort Knox. Why? Because it's a military installation. But I'm a senator. I go to military bases all the time, he would say. Well, you can't come. And so that's a little bit weird, don't you think? Well, it would seem as if Elon Musk thinks it's a little bit weird as well. Take a look at this. In response to Senator Mike Lee, Elon Musk said, "Who is confirming that gold wasn't stolen from Fort Knox? Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. That gold is owned by the American public. We want to know if it's still in there." And yeah, I think he raises a good point. As American taxpayers, I think we all have the right to know whether or not we even have any gold left inside of our nation's most secure treasury. And so amidst all of this discussion about Fort Knox and how much gold we actually have, Senator Rand Paul chimed in, calling for a complete and total comprehensive audit of everything inside of Fort Knox. In fact, take a look at this.
Elon Musk and Doge setting their sights on the country's largest gold reserve, Fort Knox in Kentucky, as its own senator reveals that $425 billion of a gold supply doesn't even get a yearly review. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins us now. So, Senator, I didn't know it was that much money there, and I was even more surprised that there's been no review.
Well, I've been trying to go down and see the gold and make sure it's all there for about 10 years. During the first Trump administration, I got permission. You have to get permission all the way up to the Secretary of Treasury. And then the Secretary of Treasury said, well, I want to go down there too. And then he said, I want to go down there when the eclipse is coming through Kentucky too, so I can see the eclipse and the gold at the same time. But they came when I wasn't there. So I tried for 10 years. I set up the appointment. And then because they wanted to see the eclipse, they changed the appointment. I didn't get to go down. But the Secretary of Treasury and the senior senator from Kentucky did go down and attest that they believe they saw the gold down there.
You hear that? They attest that they believe that they saw gold down there, but Senator Rand Paul pretty much got snubbed. Folks, between you and me, that sounds a little bit fishy. And so because I was curious, I actually did some research into this trip to Fort Knox. You see, it was in 2017 that Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Kentucky House Rep Brett Guthrie, and Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin all took a trip to see the gold. And so it was these four individuals that claimed that they maybe saw the gold in 2017, but even then, we don't know exactly what they saw or how much they saw. And oh, on top of all of that, by the way, this trip in 2017 is supposedly the very first time that a Treasury Secretary has even been to Fort Knox since 1948. Can you believe that? So yeah, when we're talking about the concerns over the gold at Fort Knox, this is the sort of weird stuff that we're talking about. But okay, let's pass it back to Senator Rand Paul.
So what do you think the problem is?
I think some of them may not think it needs to be audited all the time, but I think the more sunlight, the better, more transparency, the better. Yeah. And also it brings attention to the fact that gold still has value, and implicitly, not explicitly, but implicitly, gold still gives value to the dollar. Yeah. That's why we don't get rid of it. We've got it, the IMF has it, the World Bank has it. Most of the central banks around the world have gold, and it's an implicit trust that the dollar still has some backing.
Now, allegedly, we're supposed to have 4,580 tons of gold inside of Fort Knox at this very moment, which has an approximate value of $294 billion. So yeah, that's a lot of money. And like Senator Rand Paul said, although our dollar officially stopped being backed by gold in 1971, still, gold does have a huge amount of value, and as a country, we most certainly want to maintain our gold reserves. But now check this out. This isn't actually the first time that someone within our government has tried to audit the gold inside of Fort Knox. This has been tried before, and also, by the way, gotten completely shut down. But before we continue on and take a look at that, I want to say real quick, if you guys enjoy the daily news coverage, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. But okay, now can you guys try to guess who's tried to audit Fort Knox in the past? Well, it was none other than Rand Paul's father, former Senator Dr. Ron Paul. Take a look at this.
For far too long, the United States government has been less than transparent in releasing information relating to its gold holdings. Not surprisingly, this secrecy has given rise to a number of theories about the gold at Fort Knox and other depositories. Some people speculate that the gold has been involved in gold swaps with foreign governments or bullion banks. Others believe that the gold has secretly been shipped out of Fort Knox and sold. And still others believe that the bars at Fort Knox are actually gold-plated tungsten. Historically, the Treasury and the Mint have dismissed these theories rather than addressing these concerns with substantive rebuttals. No one from Congress has been allowed to view the gold at Fort Knox in nearly 40 years.
So folks, I don't really think that Ron Paul is exactly a stupid guy, and the point he's making is that pretty much no one has any idea what's going on with the gold inside of Fort Knox. In fact, as you all heard, he thinks it's possible that whatever's actually in there isn't even real gold at all, but just gold-plated tungsten, which would mean that whatever these guys saw in 2017 could have been completely fake. So folks, given there's all this mystery and controversy surrounding all of the gold inside of Fort Knox, yeah, I think we should have a comprehensive audit. And by the way, when I say comprehensive audit, it's not enough to just walk in there, take a look around, and then leave. No, I think we need to actually do tests on whatever's in there to actually make sure that it's all real gold and not just a bunch of worthless baloney. It also makes you wonder, if not a single Treasury Secretary visited Fort Knox between 1948 and 2017, and it's been decades since anything even resembling an audit has taken place, who exactly is calling the shots down there? And also, why are senators like Mike Lee and Rand Paul getting snubbed and turned away when they want to go down and take a look? In fact, if I didn't know better, I'd say that it almost seems like someone is trying to hide something from the public, like we're all not supposed to know exactly what's going on down there. So yeah, like I said earlier, between you and me, I think it's about time we had an audit. But you know what? Given the Department of Government Efficiency is on the case, I'd say the chances of that actually happening are pretty high. Because as we've all seen over the last couple weeks, so far the DOGE has pretty much been ripping through our federal budget, completely shredding fraud and waste as it comes up, and as it would seem, it's been coming up a lot. And you know what? Given all the fraud that's taken place inside of our federal budget, between you and me, I wouldn't exactly be surprised if some of that gold actually is missing. So hey, I can't imagine a better team to go inside of Fort Knox and figure out exactly what's been going on. But folks, I think that's going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below in the comments, let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video, but only if you liked it. Please consider subscribing, like I said earlier, it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for watching, and of course, as always, stay safe.